hear her?
Welcome! My name is Steve Katz, and this is Shrink Wrap Hawaii, and I can't tell you how excited I am to have Dr. Allana Coffee with me for the first time ever. Welcome, Dr. Coffee.
Welcome.
So, a little bit about yourself. We don't have to pretend we never met because we really never met.
It's true.
Where are you
I've
from?
heard about you for I
Yeah.
know how long. I am from here. I mean, my family's lived here since 1974.
Oh, wow.
I was born in the Midwest, and it being the Midwest, my parents left. So yeah, but I grew up here.
Which part of town?
Well, I went to Eva Beach Elementary, so we started out that side, went further west. I went to Waianae Middle School, and then we moved. It was kind of an abrupt turnaround. We came back to town, and basically, I think I'm a town kid. I grew up in Kaimiki.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, what motivated you to go into psychology?
Right. So, how can I put it? I'm the child of parents who were divorced, and I think, you know, not all children of divorce have issues or troubles, but I mean, there was definitely adjustment time, and to account for that, my mom sent me to a therapist, and that therapist gave me what I think was the worst advice. I still remember the therapist, shall not be named, but I knew at that time, I'm like, I want to do that, and I think I can do better. So that's, and then I probably forgot about that experience until fast forward about 10 or 15 years later when I was at UH, and I met a wonderful man by the name of Tom Saborowski, and he was my Psych 100 teacher, and I was like, I want to do that.
Cool.
Yeah, he was great.
And then what?
Long story, Uncle. You gotta hold him. But so I just did this whole psychology thing at UH. I got my bachelor's degree. I thought it would be easy to just go into then the doctorate at UH. UH is very difficult. The clinical psychology department at the time was very competitive and challenging to get into. So I bumped around. Eventually ended up at Chaminade, and then
my school too.
Yeah, I love Chaminade. I mean, that was a very great, useful degree of a master's from there. That accounts for some of the letters on the name. It's LMHC. Wonderful training, and felt like I wanted to do more schooling. I like school, and so I got an educational doctorate, a doctorate in educational psychology. Again, wonderful training, loved it. Worked in schools, both public and private. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a clinician. I work with families in some pain, and so then I went back to school for another 4 years or so and finished the clinical doctorate.
Wow. So what do you do now?
So now, let's see. Favorite thing is the parenting piece. I've got some twins. I like them. Yeah,
how old are they? Congratulations.
They're 17, thank you.
17?
Yeah.
So you had them when you were 16?
Yeah, thank you. No, one of those degrees. Like, I had them in between one of those degrees, but so yeah, no, that's, I think, my favorite thing is the whole parenting piece. I was a therapist before I was a parent, so now as a parent, I think it's really deepened my understanding of the 2 a.m. worry or the 2 a.m. anxiety that some parents feel at some point. But I'm in private practice 100% of the time, full-time in private practice, and we just developed a small group practice for some other clinicians. So we've got sort of a stable of 6 other therapists.
Wow. So I know how it is for me, but I wanted to ask, is being a psychologist of any help at all in your own family?
No. No, I don't know. I think that's one of the myths that people have about the therapist is that we've got it all together and that our children are perfect and everything's, but that's not true. Yeah. The only, what it does is, I know what page to find it on. When when we're acting out, I'm like, oh yeah, there it is, that's page 112, that's what they said would happen. And I think, I don't know if that helped or not. I mean,
you mean you said your twins are daughters?
They're boys.
2 boys?
Yeah.
So when you tell them what to do, they don't say, oh, okay, you're a psychologist, I guess you're right?
It's funny, the name of this show is Shrink Wrap, so they will say, Mom, don't shrink me. I'm like, go to bed. You're busted, you're grounded. But I think they're aware when I go into that mode, because I actually get a little bit more clinical and less emotional when I go into the psychology mode.
Yeah.
And so they know when I'm stepping into that space.
It's hard not to, I imagine, if you do it all day.
No, it changes as soon as you leave the, as soon as you leave the office. It all goes out the window.
Yeah. So you gave me a little piece of paper before about the myths, the common myths. And one of them you just mentioned. Tell me another myth that people have about psychology.
I guess the one that makes me the saddest is when they come in, they feel like the only reason why I'm here is because I'm weak or I ran out of options. This is my last shot. It's the last, ditch effort. And they feel like the only reason why they would be in therapy is if that was a sign of weakness and that they have somehow failed. And I'm astonished that they come with that, because by the time I see them, I'm like, they look like survivors to me. And many of them just are quite inspirational. I mean, my clients are inspiring in all that they go through. So the last thing I think of is failure. But I think that's one of the common myths.
Oh, so the fact that they know enough to come in to get help, I guess, is also a good sign.
Well, it's a humble gesture, right? It's like, I've tried, and now I could use, some feedback or an opinion or some help. And I think a humble gesture is a very strong gesture.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. So they can come in and be vulnerable. Yeah. What's another one?
That I must be crazy.
Oh, that the client thinks.
Yeah, they know I'm crazy after about 10 minutes. Yeah, they're like, oh, we came to see you. But no, I think they feel like only crazy people would seek therapy, right? It's like, that's for crazy people. That's for those people. So
what kind of people do seek therapy in your experience?
Well, I'll talk about the practice that I have currently.
Yeah.
I would say about 60% have anxieties of some sort. There's many different types of anxiety, but the anxiety spectrum is what we see a lot of. The depression spectrum, that's also, and I'm using spectrum to convey a range of it. So from mild to severe.
I mean, everybody, it's normal to have some anxiety.
I would hope actually that people have some anxiety. It's how we keep ourselves safe.
Right.
I mean, I want to scare my child to keep them from crossing the street a little bit. I think some anxiety is healthy, but when it gets to be severe and distressing and then we stop functioning as well as we could, that's the kind of anxiety that brings people in to see me a lot. I don't, another myth I think is that people think all the psychologists and therapists are the same. We vary differently as well. So I don't specialize in some of the severe mental health issues like chronic depression or any of the thought disorders like schizophrenia. It's just not something that we specialize in, although we see it every now and then it emerges. But there's certain things we send to a specialist. You can almost think of us like a general practitioner.
For the head.
Yeah, for your emotions and mind. So if we need to, we'll refer to a specialist.
Do you have any particular modality that you use in your practice?
I used to think that I was eclectic. I thought that I would take a little of this and a little of that, and whatever this particular client needed is what I would deliver. But not so much anymore. I think I'm pretty much a cognitive behavioralist, and I find myself going back to what is it that you're thinking, kind of a question. I mean, I just find myself really inquisitive about my client's frame of mind and starting there and building from there. So I would say, I'm a cognitive behavioralist, maybe some psychoeducation. I am a teacher. That educational stuff comes up, and I do like teaching.
Do you employ any of childhood stuff with people? I
don't often go back. I'm not an archaeologist by any means. I don't go back too far, except for when they continue to present with it. Like, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. Then we'll go get it. But, in my own life, I find that today and tomorrow is plenty. I can't go back and deal with back too much. It's a lot on one's plate. So today and tomorrow.
So cognitive behavioralists, you mean you're working with trying to help the client change the way they think?
Yes.
How in the world do you do that?
I think education's a big piece of it, because when people are presented with all of the information, they see it without anybody even needing to say much about it. It's just when we get scared, we just keep looking at that one small point. We just keep looking at that small point because we're afraid to take our eye off of it and look at a larger scope. So part of it is to just open up the lens, and they'll change their own mind.
It's delicate though, right? Without being too directive.
Who said anything about being too directive? Totally directive.
You'll tell them what to do. No, that's
like,
stupid.
Look at this whole picture right here.
Yeah. So you're not afraid to say, you know.
No, I think that's why they've come. That's why they've come, right? So, like, I don't. I think also another myth is that therapists, you know, are very passive, and we sit there and go, tell me more. That's one model. My folks. They find the appointment, they make the appointment, they find parking, they come up, they pay the copay. They, you know, want their money's worth. So I do, you know, share.
Yeah, that's another, you know, I think therapists are on a spectrum of how much do you share of your own stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and so from what you said, you're maybe a 6 or a 7 about what you share?
No, I don't share a lot of my stuff.
Ah, when you said share, you didn't mean your stuff.
No, I share my opinions. But I'm not really secret of my life or afraid of my life if there's something that's particularly useful. But what I don't want my clients to do is start worrying about me. So if I share too much of my life, they come in and they're like, are you okay? So, and I'll know this because, you know, I often have like a lemon and, you know, cucumber water on my desk, and so it looks like I'm on a special diet. So it's just water, folks, but, you know, they come in and like with some pies, or I'm not complaining, but, you know, they'll bring me a sandwich. I think they like
you need to eat real food,
I think,
lady.
yeah, they're like, are you okay? Here's some food. But I know that people are very caring, so I do want them to focus on themselves while they're with me, and so I don't talk about me to the point that they worry about me.
Yeah, that sounds like a good thing. Yeah. So, all right, let's do a hypothetical, because I have my theater background, right? I like to play around.
Okay.
So I come in to see you, and let's see. I tell you I'm 18, right? You have to pretend, do a lot of imagination here. And I'm a guy, and all I want to do is find a girlfriend. And I don't know what's the matter with me. I seem to be pretty good looking, and it's really getting me down. You know, all my friends seem to be able to find a girlfriend. It seems like nobody wants to talk to me. You know, I don't know what's wrong.
This one happens all the time, first of all. I don't know what the rush is. I mean, at 18, my goodness. Are you sure you want to give up all that freedom just yet?
Yeah.
I
want a girlfriend. I want a girlfriend. I want to have sex. You know, all of that,
I know.
right?
Let's get you ready for that first, though, you know? I mean, like, what do you think it means to have a girlfriend?
Well, have somebody that, you know, that thinks I'm great. And somebody that I could talk to, somebody that likes to make out, and stuff like that.
That's so fun, yeah. When's the last time you had a girlfriend?
Never.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. It used to be easier for me, but then, you know, lately I'm afraid to talk.
And when did this start? When it used to be okay and now that it's not? How long has it been like that? If you're 18 now, when did that start?
Well, kind of when I left home.
You left home?
Yeah.
Already?
I wasn't getting along with my parents, and I just came here.
Where did you come from?
California.
Wow, how'd you get on the plane? Who bought the plane ticket?
They paid the ticket. They've been paying everything, actually.
Oh, they've been paying everything. Are you working yet?
Well, I had a job, lost a job, had a job, lost a job. It's hard for me to keep a job.
Wow, you're way over here in Hawaii by yourself? With
yeah.
Oh, wow, of course. You're looking for some community.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, you must be really feeling lonely sometimes.
No, all the time.
Yeah. And when you were in California, what part? Northern, southern?
Southern, Malibu.
Oh, my goodness. So when you were there, what was it like?
It was kind of cool. I mean, except for my family stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had friends. I could talk to people.
Right. Did they know where you are now?
Yeah, they bought the ticket.
No, your friends.
Oh, my friends.
Yeah, they must be missing you. I mean, you were close.
Oh, I don't know. You know.
When's the last time you checked in?
I don't. A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah. Who'd you talk to?
My friend Richie.
Richie.
Yeah. He's a jerk.
He's a jerk?
he's a bigger jerk than I am.
Oh, no. Poor Richard.
Yes.
What do you do? Never mind. That's Richard. Let's just keep with you, you know? Well, you know, where are you living?
Well, you know what? They just told me we have to take a break, and I'll tell you as soon as we come back.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Don't touch your mouse.
Why?
Aloha. Welcome to Think Tech Hawaii. My name is Josh Green. I'm a senator from the Big Island and a physician. I host a show weekly called Healthcare in Hawaii, where we talk about the most important issues in healthcare for our state, whether it's the dengue fever outbreak, the state of our public hospitals, how to find physicians and nurses for our patients, or really just the best things to do for our family's health. That's what you'll find on this show. I'll bring experts to your attention, and we'll have a free-flowing dialogue. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on Think Tech. This show is so very dear to my heart. We talk with artists of various different ilk here about the process that they go through for their art. So we talk about what they're doing, why they are doing it, how they do it. And it's a show that is inspiring. This is what I hear from people all the time. And a show that will teach you something, sometimes something about yourself. I hope you'll join us. The show is Center Stage. It's on Think Tech every Wednesday at 2 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Welcome back to Shrink Wrap. I'm with Dr. Allana Coffee, and we were just in the middle of what we call a role play kind of thing. By the way, do you ever do that with your clients?
Often.
Often?
Yes.
You find it's effective?
I think they feel comfortable doing a rehearsal before they go into events, whether it's a court event or a meeting with their boss or even a parent. It's just, you know, let's have a conversation about how this thing can go. And if they say this, what will you do? Kind of very helpful. Very helpful.
So, what I noticed, you know, portraying this kid, you were real positive, and I felt that. It made me want to tell you more. I mean, what's the trick? How do you do that?
I believe in you, I guess, you know. You're in my office, you're here, you want to be here. I'm not afraid. Tell me more.
It comes across. It really, you know, it makes me want to trust you. Like somehow you're on my side. Yeah. Yeah,
and I need to know a little more in order to truly be, you know, a helper. I don't know all there is to know yet about this young man.
Oh, do you want to go back?
We could go back, but there's a few things yet, you know, like what more does he need? I mean, I guess where I would go with my questioning, and I don't take a lot of time. I think by the first session, a person should leave with, you know, a list of what to do. I'm going to start step 1, step 2.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, something, what to do. So I guess, you know, to summarize, this young man just moved to Hawaii. He's alone. He's being funded financially by parents, so he's not destitute and on the street at this time.
Right.
And he's feeling very lonely, and the source of a connection he thinks is the most logical one to have is a girlfriend.
Right.
Which is not the one that I would recommend. It's a lot of burden on a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
She's going to have to be fulfill many roles for this young man. He does not yet have a job. I don't know if he's in school. It doesn't sound like it. But I would start really with how, and I was going to ask him where he lived. I would want to know if his housing was secure. You know, what's he got there? And
well, okay, I'll go back for you.
Okay.
Oh,
goodness.
We'll play a little more.
Oh my gosh, when does it end? Do you get cured in the end?
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was living on the North Shore, and then I had an argument with the landlord, sort of a miscommunication thing, and you know, they really didn't understand me at all, and then I went to another place, and then I just had a fight with them, but luckily they haven't thrown me out yet.
Okay, all right. You know, you said that you came here and your parents are supporting you, and they helped you buy the ticket and everything, right?
Yeah, they send me money all the time. They're paying for this.
Oh, great, great. All right. And you're 18. Do you think Would it be okay if sometime I talk to your parents? Would you give me permission? You know?
Yeah, sure, you can talk to them.
We'll do some paperwork before you leave.
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
reason why I'm asking for that is, let's say you get yourself in some more trouble.
Yeah.
And you end up with no place to stay.
Yeah.
And we've got to be able to bring in some help. And so I'm not going to do that without you knowing. I won't call your parents unless you and I have a conversation. But I want you to have some sort of connection.
Okay.
You know. So I have another question, and that's about your health. You know, how you feeling physically? If you.
All right, I guess, you know.
Mm-hmm. When's the last time you went to the doctors, you know?
Oh,
At 18,
actually,
yeah.
I went not that long ago because I wanted to get myself, you know, one of those medical marijuana cards.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you get one?
Not yet.
No. What health issue were you trying to use to get one?
Anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety.
Okay. Oh, since how long? 'Cause,
since getting here, mostly.
But when you're in California, your anxiety?
Off and on.
Off and on.
But I always smoked there, so not so much.
Yeah, yeah. So here on Oahu, your anxiety is high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
And you're used to treating your anxiety with marijuana.
Whatever works.
Yeah. Oh, there's more? What else?
Well, we don't know each other that well yet.
It's confidential.
Yeah, a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason why I ask is because, well, it's not uncommon for a person to try marijuana, and then there's, I don't know, well, alcohol is usually somewhere around there.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And at 18, well, unfortunately, I know a lot of 18-year-olds are using ecstasy and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, like, what have you done?
Just about everything, a little bit here and there.
Mm-hmm. So, what are you currently using? That might have been
Mostly
your
just
past.
that. Mostly just the marijuana.
Okay. All right. And so, do your parents know that you have this anxiety?
Yeah, they know.
Yeah. Your doctor?
They're crazier than I am.
You know,
Way crazier.
I believe you. You know, it's genetic.
Yeah, it is, really.
Actually, it really is. These things are in the line. I believe you. It's just your parents may have found a different way of coping with it, right? We don't know
they
what...
got rid of me. That's how they're
and
coping
look, and
with
now
it.
I've got you. Welcome.
Thank you.
But the thing about the marijuana, I'm wondering how much of it you're used to using.
Every day.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so have you ever used anything that the doctors prescribed for you? I mean...
Oh, yeah. They thought I was ADD, so they gave me stuff for that. And you name it.
Well, no, you name it. I'd like to know.
Adderall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Adderall itself gives a person a little bit of anxiety. Right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure which is worse, with it or without it.
Yeah, right. So do you have Adderall now? Whether legitimate or not?
No, I do. Yeah.
You have some now. Is it with a prescription?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Who's the doctor that gave you the Adderall?
Dr. Jones.
Right here in Honolulu?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Dr. Jones is aware of the anxiety?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder if you would let me also speak to Dr. Jones.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Because I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Marijuana is very expensive.
Uh-huh.
And it's dangerous to procure. It's
But
dangerous
my
to
parents
get.
know, they pay.
Yeah, I know. I'm not worried so much about that. It's just, here in Hawaii, with you being new, I don't want you in trouble. Let's see if Dr. Jones can think about something to add to that Adderall to help reduce the anxiety.
Oh, another pill.
Something different, yeah.
Oh, I mean, instead of.
I don't know. See, this is the part where you got to talk about it with Dr. Jones.
Okay.
Because while I'm a doctor, I'm not that kind.
Okay.
But, I do have some ideas about that. Because ultimately, your goal is to have a girlfriend, right? You don't want to be alone.
Bingo, you got it.
I remember. But there's some things in the way of you getting to that goal.
Okay.
And one of them is that anxiety, that fear.
Yeah.
And there's something we can do about that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a list. Like, what kind of list? And do I make the list? Do you make the list?
What do you mean? Of the medicine?
Of stuff to do when I leave.
No, we make it together. Well, one of the lists right now is that we're going to start doing some paperwork so I can talk to Dr. Jones, right? And you're going to make an appointment to Dr. Jones, and we're going to talk about that anxiety, because I'm wondering if sometimes you don't also feel kind of sad and down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did you know that?
I'm guessing. How are you sleeping at night?
I sleep.
How many hours, roughly?
It varies. You know, sometimes I'm up really late doing stuff.
What's late for you? Because late for me is like 10.
No.
I'm
That's
old.
early for
I'm
me.
old. See what I mean?
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
be specific.
I don't know, 3?
Oh my. Is that when you're waking up or getting to sleep?
I'm getting to sleep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're waking up then at.
I don't know, 10, 11, 12,
It's
1.
not. Oh my. Yeah.
Except, you know, if I have a job.
Right. What kind of jobs do you like to do?
If I got a job surfing, that would be really cool.
I know. Well, you can be a surf teacher.
Yeah, but there's plenty of those here. I worked, you know, as a short order cook, but I got fired because I lied and said I had experience and I didn't have experience. So.
Dangerous without experience.
Yeah, but you know, how do you get your first job, right? Because I never really had to work before.
Yeah. So what's your plan? Do you continue to take money from your parents? Like
That's my plan.
Your plan? And how long did they say you could?
They didn't say.
They didn't give you a time limit or
No,
anything like that?
no.
You've known these folks your whole life.
Yeah.
Do you think, just guessing, are they going to be able to do that indefinitely? Or
Yeah,
should you
yeah,
start
they have a lot of money.
They have a lot of money?
They have a lot of money.
Okay, great. So besides work then, what else do you like to do?
Girls?
Shame on
Surf?
you. Can't say it like that. You know, part of what's happening is you're bored.
Yeah.
I would guess that you don't have anything.
And I don't know anybody.
Yeah. Well, Hawaii is actually kind of a difficult place. I mean,
It
just validate
is. You know,
that for
they
you.
think, you know, I'm this Howley guy, and
Yeah.
like, I think they got an attitude about me.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's considered the aloha spirit and things like that. It's a difficult place. You can't just walk in off the street and think, you know, people will embrace you. So you got to get started somewhere, because
Yeah.
the little secret is that once you are known and once you are honest, you're going to have to stop that lying business because people see right through it here. But once people decide they like you.
What do you mean, about the job experience?
Or any of it, anything, yeah. But once people like you and they trust you, they'll treat you like family. So that's one of the things I want you to keep in the back of your mind.
I don't know, you just got me really sad.
Yeah. What'd I say? Which
I
part?
need a break. We'll be right
What?
back.
What?
after this.
Don't go.
We'll be right back.
Aloha! Hello, my name is Patrick Bratton. I'm host of Global Connections here at ThinkTech Hawaii. We broadcast live every Thursday at 1 p.m. We bring Hawaii to the world and the world to Hawaii, talking about international events and various things of interest to the audience. Please join me. I look forward to talking with you and having you get to meet some of my guests. Aloha.
Aloha, namaskar, and hello. My name is Anu Hito. My show is called Climate Change Beyond Outrage. In it, we go beyond outrage to discuss solutions to global problems on climate change facing people, nations, and the world. Join me here every Tuesday at 1 o'clock on ThinkTech Hawaii. Aloha and bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. That's Ted Ralston. You know, Ted is the host of Where the Road Leads. It shows every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. It's about technology. It's about how people collaborating and solve problems with modern technology. It's where the road leads. We all know that. We should all be listening. Join us there, 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday. Now, what about that do you agree with?
All of it.
I knew he'd say that. Aloha. Say aloha.
Aloha.
Good.
Welcome back to Shrink Wrap. I'm Steve Katz, your host, and I'm still with Dr. Allana Coffee. So, Dr. Coffee, maybe we should give this guy a rest for a while.
Yes. But we'll have to schedule him weekly for quite some time.
You betcha. Yeah, it's really difficult with some clients, yeah?
So it's interesting the case that you present, because I feel
Yeah.
like you're just kind of presenting it, but there's so many issues. And one
Yeah.
of them is when people come to Hawaii from out of the blue. I mean, I was fortunate enough to come here with a family pod, and I grew up here. So I do have social support here. I've got friends and family and aunties and uncles. I mean, we've got folks. So this young man, as you present, he's really out here by himself. And the family and our friends.
Yeah, when we were doing
Yeah,
the role play and
yeah.
you said family, I said I felt sad.
Yeah. Right? I mean, that triggered something in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people being lonely, it's critical. I mean, loneliness is very, very deep and hard to bear.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and so he's here with nobody.
Yeah.
And he's desperately trying to get to know people, but he doesn't have any confidence.
Right.
And he's afraid to be honest.
Yeah. Well, you know, that defensiveness, you know, that's another thing that makes it will make it hard for him a little bit. You know, if he's all defensive, people won't trust him too. And I think it might be hard ethnically. We've got some cultural issues in the state, and I think everybody kind of knows about them. It's still an easier state for someone like me who's African-American female. I feel very comfortable in Hawaii, and I don't know that I'd feel that comfortable in other states. But
you know, it's interesting you say that, because I know, I'm not going to say some of my best friends, but I've known other African Americans here, and I think it depends more on the person than on your ethnicity or race, because, you know, some people say, oh no, people don't get me, there's all this race. I've had it. I know other, you know, Caucasians here who've worked, you know, for the DOE, and they say, oh, there's all this prejudice, and I never felt it. And so I'm sure a lot of it is what you're putting out.
Has a lot to do with what you're putting out, but imagine if someone is defensive. And that's why we go back to the thinking. Thinking is very, very important. So if I'm thinking that everybody's out to get me, and nobody likes me because you know, people out there are racist, that's what's in my mind.
So how do you change that?
And so well, you know, so in the case of this young man, he's like, nobody likes me, you know, guaranteed somebody does. So we start looking for the things that are inconsistent with their belief structure. We start looking for the exceptions, because there is evidence that that's just not true. I mean, like, if I had a mindset that nobody likes me, that's just not true. You invited me here. There's, you know, there's evidence all over the place that is to the contrary. And in some cases, when we can't find any evidence, you know, maybe it's not all that important that everybody at this moment like me. Or maybe I'm not being very likable at this moment. So we start looking for, it's not to get into an argument, but it's what else is the information showing? What else is the information indicating?
You said something else on our break that I thought of, and it ties to what you just said. Maybe it's not all that important that everybody likes me, right?
Right.
But you mentioned something about, I remember what I said. I said, yeah, reason to get up in the morning. But you had said what? Do you remember? A purpose.
Yes.
That's what you said.
Purpose is huge.
So describe that. What is that?
In the event, okay, so like I keep getting these degrees, right? I had a purpose, and the purpose changed maybe a little bit over time, but it was something that I believed in enough, that mattered enough to me, that even when nobody else or other people were like, why are you doing that for? It mattered to me. So and it could be any purpose. And that's what helps pull us through when we're up at 3 in the morning actually writing a paper or doing something like that, the purpose.
So, but with our friend, who I just stopped being, what kind of purpose? I mean, I think you're right. I think that he's searching for that purpose.
So it sounds like he and his family are independently wealthy. And there's a whole culture of folks who are independently wealthy and who don't have to work. And so for them, they have to find their purpose and their meaning in ways that it's different for those of us who are working folks. Because one of my purposes was work. So if you take that out of the equation, then what do you do? And they're in a position to do great many things, you know. So philanthropic work, people who are less fortunate than him. Sometimes people need to leave the country so they can see the purpose, you know, the meaning, and from where they are, what they have to offer and share. I think sharing of our time and our resources and our skills. So let's say I have no money, but I have a skill. I can share that, and that's purpose.
To help other people.
To help other people. Since he does not need any gain, he doesn't need any money, but he needs community. So go be in it.
Go be in the community.
Go help. Start rowing. We've got lots of work that needs to be done, and people are very grateful. You know, they're very grateful. Whether he works at Humane Society, a homeless shelter, an old folks home. Do you know there's people that are just sitting there, I guess, waiting for their relatives, who are working, by the way, to come and visit them? They're delighted when somebody younger walks by. They're enchanted, really. There's a lot of work to be done. So point him somewhere.
Yeah, but it's breaking that, thought, that way of thinking.
So because your young fellow also sounds really insecure,
right?
What he's going to need is a bridge or a mentor, some person that says, "Come with me, and we're going to go clear out this low-E patch. Come with me. We're going to go plant these trees in this restorative place." Whatever it is that he's going to go do, because he does not need to work, right? He doesn't need the cash,
right.
So he can volunteer his time in so many areas until he finds that one thing that makes sense to him. But he's going to need a bridge. Remember in the movie Grease, the Sid Caesar character? And he says, "Why don't we try long distance running?" Yeah. He took a very defensive John Travolta's character, Danny, and he said, "We're going to find that thing that until it clicks and makes sense to you." Right?
Yes, I reckon I'm a runner myself. It's funny you mentioned that, and I know people who say things like that kind of activity really save their lives.
Yeah.
Because of the crossover between the physical stuff that you do and your mental. I mean, that's how I changed my thinking process. Is I go running every morning, and I'm always happy when I get back.
Wow, I wouldn't run in the morning unless the house was on fire. Wow.
We're different.
Good on ya.
No, so what do? You don't do any kind of physical exercise?
Oh, I play tennis. Yeah. And on really hard days, I like paint faces on the walls. like, bam, take that one. Usually it's like IRS.
Do you also paint?
I don't paint. I mosaic and I sculpt.
So see, I said to my friend, he's a great actor. I mean, he can come in and do 6 different persona in one session.
Beautiful.
So I recommended that he get into the theater community here.
Right. Great things are happening in our community with theater. I love it. I go to as many productions or plays as I can. One of my children, one of my sons is in theater. It's a wonderful thing for him. There's stage all over the place for this young man to get on.
Yeah, it's a great community here.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of money in it here.
He doesn't need that, though.
He doesn't need
Very young. I mean, he's in a unique position to just purely find that which means something to him.
And there's something about that, at least for me, that was always very therapeutic. Is like, because it's so hard to imagine how other people feel. Right? So that's how I do, that's why I do the role play thing. Because this helps me understand the client.
A little bit
more. And then if the client can, like, if he's having trouble with, say, his mother, right? I'll let him be his mother for a while.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow, you're a Gestalt.
Well, a little bit of a Gestalt and psychodrama.
Yeah.
Let him be his mother and say her words. And sometimes that can really...
You really get where he's seeing her, what view he's seeing her with.
What is it like to be her? What is it like to have a kid that you can't live with anymore, so much so that you send them off to Hawaii, and then to worry about, are they going to be okay today? What is that like?
Wow.
What is that like to have a kid that doesn't call you back or text you back or communicate with you, or that gets angry with you and won't talk to you for a week?
That level of empathy would take care of so much. I mean, if he could have that level of empathy for his mother, that he could answer that helps him get a girlfriend, actually.
I think he knows that a little bit.
Yeah, because
one time he said to me something like, I finally got him. My mother's just another woman.
We're everywhere.
Yeah, he's got an attitude now, right? About women, because he feels rejected all the time.
Yeah. And if he keeps at this in the way that he's going about it, that rejection will continue.
Yeah.
So another thing is, I met my husband, my mate and best friend at work, doing the work that we found purpose in at that time. We're working in domestic violence. So if he, your young man that you were just portraying, gets into something that he cares about, there's other people there.
Yeah.
And then the relationship's not based on what you look like. I think, you have a nice smile. It's based on we together care about this thing. It's a much deeper connection.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite pool from which to pull boyfriends and girlfriends is the things that we have in common pool.
Oh, it's not Tyndall.
Tinder.
Tinder. It shows what I know.
No, how do you know that anyway?
I do this job.
No Tinder, but really, you know, around a common interest, and wow, you know, to fall in love with another person's mind is such a wonderful connection, and I think this young man is looking for connection and should not be alone, so he needs to get involved.
Yeah, it's just hard to get past that. No, this is what I need, you know, from him. But you're so empathetic. I'll come see you.
All right. Make an appointment. No.
So you mentioned that guy in your life that you met at work. Yeah, I know him a little bit. You met at work?
We met at work.
Yeah.
He hired me.
Oh. Yeah. Is that ethical for him to marry you after that?
Especially since we're working at a domestic violence agency, they were like, "Oh no, this is all wrong. There's a power differential." You know, it was kind of. We're in a small town, right? So people, you know, we did what we did. Eventually, our jobs became unequal. So we were both supervisors. But yeah.
So then it was okay.
It became okay. They were very worried that I was being taken advantage of. Little did they know.
Yeah, he tells me. Not.
But yeah, no, Jerry's a good guy. And talk about purpose. I mean, like he has a good job. You know, maybe if this person is not so hypothetical, Jerry's always looking for volunteers at IHS. And
cool.
That's a great place to work. And people out there really in need. They don't have housing and all kinds of things, so we volunteer.
Yeah. And some of you that don't know, IHS is the Institute for Human Services, it's the biggest homeless shelters here?
It's one of the largest of the homeless shelters. It's an emergency shelter, so people go and they don't have another roof, but it's not so much a handout. There are conditions to being there. I mean, you know, they themselves volunteer. The people who are sheltered have to give back in some kind of way. I think people feel good when they're giving back too. So.
Wow. Do you get a lot of benefit, I mean, emotionally from what you do? I mean, some people have said to me, like, how do you do this? What do you get out of the job?
I can't imagine doing anything else at all. And I said earlier, my clients are inspiring. They really are. Like every hour, I hear some amazing story. Some amazing person walks in and says, "Look what I've had to deal with, and look what I'm surviving through." And I'm really honored to share a little bit of their time, especially the people that bring their children. That's really an honor too. I mean,
so you see families?
I see families. Yeah, about a third kids. And the teens. I mean, so I find it extremely rewarding, and I'm not tired, and I don't rarely take it home with me. I mean, I think that's part of the training. You know, that's why we go to graduate schools. They teach us how to like kind of cut it at the end of the day. But I'm mostly truly awed by my clients.
Wow.
It makes TV so boring. I'm like, I got that story beat. Like 4 o'clock was much more interesting than that. You know, but,
it's, is it hard for you not to get emotionally involved with your clients?
I don't know the answer to that question, because I think I'd like to think that I am objective and not emotionally involved and have a good detachment, but I don't know how well, you know, I mean, if something happened to them, I would grieve. You know, it's not like I don't care for them at all. In some cases, you know, like it would be impossible to do this work if you didn't have care, even love for them on some level. But
on the word love, they're telling me we have to stop.
Oh, what a wonderful segue. Okay, because it's all love anyway, right?
Thank you so much for coming. Join us next Tuesday at 3 o'clock or whenever you want on YouTube. This is Steve Katz for Shrink Wrap Hawaii. See you next time. Bye-bye.